Welcome to the Nick and Rob Homer Hour. And I don't know who the two viewers were that couldn't make it past the 10 seconds, but they dropped out at the last second right before the beginning of the show. So I guess they didn't have the patience to wait there, Rob.
I guess not. Sorry. I thought we were just doing a test run last week, or I would have advertised on our socials that we were live tonight and not to pay attention for the pod to drop. So that'll also affect it. But
It's all. Oh, sorry. It's all good. We're testing some different things over here on the Nick and Rob Homer Hour and trying to possibly get more live content in the future. But so, Rob, right now we have a long way to go before the UFL season, and this is not us dipping out. I want that for the record. We are not dipping out, but we need some subjects to talk about before the UFL season. So, me and Rob are going to be discussing some of our local favorite teams in other sports, such as the Dallas Stars, the Boston Bruins, the Red Sox, and of course the Rangers. Rob can feel free talking about the Celtics. I'm just out on the Rangers or the Mavericks right now. Not too interested in that one. So yeah, we're gonna change it up just a little bit until the UFL season gets going, though, right, Rob?
yeah, no, that makes sense to me. And even once we get the UFL season going, we're still going to have a quick hit each week on what's going on in Boston and Dallas outside of the UFL as well. Because the seasons are going to keep going. We're going to get NHL playoffs. We're going to get MLB regular season up and going. We're going to get NBA playoffs for, well, one of our teams.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's and who knows? We might. I mean, we're a month and a half away from, Augusta and the Masters, and we're big golfers, so I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit. There's plenty to talk about in the sports world, and it's just going to keep on going and getting bigger and better. But yes, in about 4 weeks, once the season kicks off, probably about 3 weeks when we can really dive into some deeper previews. We got part one of the UFL going. We'll get part two going soon enough. And we still got a little bit of stuff to talk about today as well. Nick, you noticed there was some fun sponsorship stuff.
Yes, yeah, some big sponsorships, which is going to be great for the league. I think just overall that they're able to capitalize on that. I think Mike Repoli is doing a good job at getting working the business side of it and just trying to get that money in, because that's the most important part. This league does not succeed if the money doesn't come in. A lot of people invest into this stuff and they got to get into it. But for now, we're just going to be breaking down some sports. Let's kick it off to the Homer headlines. What do you think, Rob?
Let's do it. All right, all right. So we got a few things going on right now, including a showdown with my pets, which I might have to kick them out in a moment. They're settled. Good. All right.
Okay.
So,
all right.
The cat was daring to try to cuddle the dog. Devastating times.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot going on right now. The most exciting thing probably that is we always love international competition. We've got the World Baseball Classic kicking off. If you're listening to us or either watching us not live or listening to us tonight before you go to bed, tomorrow on Wednesday, March 4th, the World Baseball Classic kicks off. So that's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of top players from around Major League Baseball and Japan and all the other leagues, and some top up-and-coming prospects, amateurs, all competing for national pride. The heavy favorites in that are, of course, Japan and the United States. But that being said, Japan's the only one, I believe, that's won this twice since it restarted. U.S. does have one title, but doesn't always thrive. Part of it is, and there's no good spot to put it on the calendar, because you don't want to take a 2 or 3 week break in the middle of the regular season. Although one could argue it's long enough, you could figure it out with some extra double headers. Fans do love a double header. And then you're not going to do it at the end of the season because players are hurt, broken down, tired. So Start of the MLB season's the best time to do it, so that's when it's happening. But it's not just a Japan versus the U.S. and everyone else falls down showdown. There is a lot of real quality teams. Cuba is always a tough one. They've got some visa issues this year, so we'll see. Dominican Republic, of course. Puerto Rico fields their own team because if the U.S. had Puerto Rico and the U.S. combined, it'd be pretty unfair for everybody but Japan. So Puerto Rico fields their own team, and they're always a competitor, as is Venezuela. The last World Baseball Classic, both the Czech Republic and Canada were surprising upstarts. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But hopefully, of course, we get what we all are rooting for, U.S. versus Japan in the final. The biggest news on the U.S. side, Nick, I want your take on this coming out of it. And again, we're just going into preseason. Arguably best pitcher in the world today, Tarik Skubal, who just got a nice contract from the Tigers. The Tigers are looking to continue to build and hopefully win a World Series this year. He is going to participate. However, he is going to only pitch one game in pool play, and he will have a 55-pitch limit. And that team he's playing, you'd think, okay, well, if we're bringing him in for his 55 pitches, it must be maybe it's Puerto Rico, Venezuela. Did somehow Japan awkwardly get put into a pool with the U.S.? No. We're using Tarik Skubal for 55 pitches against the mighty Great Britain. We don't need him for that. So what's your, and even if the U.S. advances out of pool play, gets into the single elimination round of 8 teams on, he will not play again, but he will go sit on the bench in uniform. What are your thoughts on that? Is this someone that just wants a participation trophy, or is this someone that is actually excited about the USA?
Yeah,
the USA winning, not the politics, just the USA team as a whole.
Yeah, no. My quick question into that is just, why are you pitching? It's just 55 pitches for the entire thing, the entire deal. I thought it was like 55 pitches per game, but I guess game he pitches, but no.
One game.
Well, then, no. I don't even know why he's on Team USA. That takes a roster spot from someone that can actually help out. I know he's the best pitcher. I'm not denying that, but no, I don't like that at all. I think that's just a waste of time. I feel bad for Great Britain. You know, they have to deal with him at that one.
Yeah, they're definitely not winning that game.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Not that when I think of baseball, I think of Great Britain anyway. So, yeah, a little strange that they're doing that. My overall opinion is that's a waste of time. You could have had a different roster spot, and so they should have taken that route.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Detroit Tigers are totally fine with it. One of the big storylines, Nick, that's been leading into this, besides visa issues for teams trying to get players into play in the U.S. pool locations, there's 2 pool locations to start in the U.S., and then there's one in Puerto Rico, and then there is one in Japan. Has been visa issues, but along with that, players have had a hard time insurance to cover them actually playing in this event, because we have seen some injuries in the past that have ruined seasons. Edwin Diaz is one. Did you notice Tux in the background there?
Yeah, I did. I love me some Tux. Yeah, I just love me some Tux.
Right there for the viewers. That's my cat. And then Jose Altuve has been hurt in the past. So not all the star power is going to be there due to some technical things, which sucks, but we're still going to have a lot of the best players. So if you love baseball and you're already bored of watching or reading about spring training games, we have some high quality action coming at us starting tomorrow through the next few weeks. We'll definitely have an update on how the U.S. is done or is doing in pool play next week, and hopefully we'll be a bit more excited about it.
Yeah, I cannot wait. One thing about any sport out there, period, end of story, though, is you just put a country on it, whatever it said be, and it just makes it 10 times more entertaining, and it's just really nice. Cheer for your home crowd and going after them. But yeah, let's we are talking about the spring leagues that are coming up, and Rob, let's start off with the Boston Red Sox, and you got some news? Anything to be anticipating? Anything to be excited about for them?
So, us Boston Red Sox fans, especially since '04, when we actually, oh my goodness, we can actually win, we've also always traditionally been those big spenders that'll spend it all to win. That's changed pretty much since I'd say probably around COVID. Our very, very wealthy owners have decided that they've got enough World Series titles. They focused on other things. One of them was a part owner of the Penguins for a while. They've also got they've got ownership in Premier League. They've got ownership in some different golf startups. Um, they're more focused on making money now, which, as a Sox fan, that drives us wild because we already pay the highest ticket prices in MLB, and they skyrocket it every year. They skimp and scrimp out on paying their game day workers to the point where the concession workers actually had a strike over just a few dollars an hour difference last year. That's embarrassing. Oh my goodness, you guys are you can pay like the backup to the backup 5 mil a year at minimum, but you can't get your game day workers upped. Meanwhile, we're paying 18 to 20 bucks for a beer, probably 7, 8 bucks for a hot dog. Fenway Franks are great, but do I want to be paying $8 to $10 for a hot dog? No, I don't. So it's just, and because it's the Red Sox, the games are still all selling out because whether it's the hometown fans still showing up because it's the Red Sox, or it's you know New England's a popular place to be in the summer and the warm months. So and it's Boston, it's Fenway, so you get a lot of tourists constantly coming in. Uh, so the last few years we've been pretty frustrated because the spending hasn't been there, while they still talk about their desire to win. And well, it still really isn't all that there. They did a couple things, but to me, not enough this year. So our biggest issue, well, we had a lot of issues last year. We had minimal offense and we had almost no starting pitching. Our bullpen's great. Aroldis Chapman has had a nice second act or third act or fourth act, whatever you want to call it, of his career. He had his best season ever statistically last year. So we've got him back as a closer, which is great. But then we don't have much going on offense. We're putting a lot of eggs in the basket that is Roman Anthony, who fantastic rookie year. He played about half the season for us. And we already have, even after just a month of him playing, we have already extended him for 8 years and 130 million. So we view him as the face of the franchise, which is good because we famously shipped out our face of the franchise last year in Rafael Devers, a guy who was a certified Yankee killer, loved playing, loved being in Boston. Yes, he could be difficult at times, but you kept making him change his position and kept telling him he didn't need to do this, didn't need to do that, and then you'd flip it on him. At some point, you are paying these guys a lot of money, but part of paying them that money is they're specializing in something. Baseball is a game of specialists. Mm-hmm. And then so you ship him out for whatever to San Francisco. And then you say you're going to spend all this money because you saved money on shipping out Devers. But then we let Alex Bregman go. So what was the point of ever bringing Bregman in when we could have kept Devers at third? And then the big money that you went out and spent, we brought in Sonny Gray. Solid, but not amazing. We spent money on Ranger Suarez. He's going to be our number 2 but behind Garrett Crochet, which is good. And then we brought in Johan Oviedo as well to either be the number 5 guy or be kind of a bridge guy. And then we have a couple young pieces pitching-wise in Peyton Tolley and Connor Early. Both had great debuts last year. Either one of them have a chance to come out of spring and overtake Oviedo for the 5th spot in that rotation. But we'll see. But on offense, we're seriously relying on mostly one player. We brought in Wilson Contreras to play first base, which has been a major issue because Tristan Casas can't stay healthy. And he's pretty much our whole offense besides Roman Anthony. Most of the rest of the players on there have mostly proven they can't hit. Who's taken third base? We brought in Caleb Durbin over from the Milwaukee Brewers. Relatively young. He's got a decent bat. He's actually got 5 RBIs in his last 5 spring games. So we have potential there. Right now, Nick, we are the all potential team. If everything breaks right, we can win the AL East. We can win the AL. We can win a World Series. If everything breaks wrong, we'll be shocked if we win 83 games, and we'll just have to go from there. I don't know. It's a lot of frustration. I'm not excited yet. This ownership group doesn't let me get excited because they don't let the front office make the exciting moves we're used to. So we'll see. I am cautiously optimistic, but I don't know if I can trust the current ownership group.
Yeah, they're acting really strange too. It's almost like they forgot they own the Boston Red Sox. So I don't. It seems like every time in free agency they're just getting beat by different teams out there. Everyone's getting beat to the Dodgers, for instance, and they're just not spending like they should. I'm glad they got the young player though for 8 years and 130 million, because right now that is called a bargain in MLB circles right now. Thanks to the
it's
Dodgers.
A huge bargain. Yeah.
I mean,
we have this chance. So if Contreras is awesome at first and Cassis comes back and is showing he's healthy, and hopefully they're going to keep him in Worcester because he's still got some minor league options. So if he's showing he's healthy, but Contreras just is doing his job, we now have a movable piece. And then we should potentially also, if everyone stays healthy, have another movable piece with either Connor Early, Peyton Tolley, or Johan Oviedo. I really want them to hang on to Early and Tolley if they can. But you look at the potential for, you can go out and get a really high-end piece if you're this close away with what we've got. Or ride it, and then maybe you move Contreras at the end of the year if Cassis shows he can stay healthy. And then, I'm not planning to rely on Sonny Gray past this year. He's pretty old by baseball standards. So I would hope either Tolley or Early can take over a spot for him, and then slot in next year in the number 3 spot behind Ranger Suarez and Garrett Crochet, who can not far away from being able to take that title from School.
Yeah, and I know one big thing in baseball is you don't want to be 3 years over the second layer of the salary cap because the tax is just tremendous. If you're the Dodgers, you don't care, but outside of them, seem like
there's no cap, but there are taxes. It's similar to the NBA with aprons.
Yeah,
but they could let every player, they could pay every player $50 million a year if they wanted to. And that's a whole nother conversation. But
yeah, I said salary cap. I meant apron. But like when you get over the second apron right now, most teams, your big market teams, are over the first apron, luxury tax apron, and most teams are willing to pay it. Even the Texas Rangers are above that. But if you're 3 years over that second apron, they increase the tax tenfold, and it really makes a lot of teams pay. I don't think the Dodgers care about that at all. And the way their contracts are written anyway, that I think they're taking advantage of, the fact that their state doesn't do or has a high income tax. So the players are wanting their money on the back end when they could move somewhere else.
Smart.
And very smart. But no. I'm just wondering, is like Boston just trying to dip down below that second layer, because they are below it right now.
They had to pay like $1.5 million for going over one of the levels. That's a rounding error for any of these teams. They shouldn't need to. They bring in plenty of money, but ownership group is showing that they'd kind of rather operate like they're the Pirates, which is annoying. Granted, it's still Boston. They're still spending money. It's just not as much as we're accustomed to percentage-wise.
And the other thing that's happening right now is the big TV deal, Bubble Burst, that I think is about to has already happened to the Rangers. They lost their network. They had to create their own network to get it. And I pay, I think it's like $140 a year, but I'll pay it just to watch the Rangers each month. Which, you know, it's a long baseball season. It's not too bad. But I don't know. Is Boston doing okay on the TV front? They already got that deal.
Oh yeah, they're
They still got
fine.
it.
Nesson's rock solid. New England Sports Network, it's their regional network where you see Sox games and also Boston Bruins games. There is, as far as I've looked and seen, that there's no issues. It's also like a legit regional network. It's most of these networks that have had issues have been offshoots of the local Fox Sports.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
that
exactly
is
what
not
happened
what.
in Dallas.
Yeah, and that's not what Nesson is. Nesson's been its own standalone regional sports network for a long time.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're doing fine on that front. Then yeah, I don't know what the Boston Red Sox are doing. They could spend all day if they really want to, and it's just amazing that they don't, because they're one of the few franchise out there with a big enough name you can get away with it,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be an issue. And new owners, if you want to make money, it's pretty easy. Just have a winning baseball team. It does you solid in the long run. Look at all the Dodgers gear that you're seeing today in Austin, Texas. It works. When you guys are successful, it just works.
Yeah, it does, especially in a town like Austin, which is a transient town. And yes, population wise, it's mostly either Rangers or Astros fans, but there's enough people from out of state that have come in that are transplants like me. Well, I've been around for a while, y'all. I've been back full time for 10 years now.
I christened him a Texan.
Yeah, that we're not just gonna give up our loyalties where they are. But how are you feeling about your Rangers? Your World Series hero is no longer a Ranger. That's got to hurt a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Well, Adolis Garcia, what you were specifically talking about, it was my favorite player on that team. And I don't know if Ranger fans, I think most do agree that he's one of their favorites just because he had so much attitude. And anyone that flips a bat in front of the Houston Astros, if you know anything about that rivalry, Texas Rangers and Astros, it's heated, and we do not like the other one doing really well at all. It's very similar to not as big and nationwide known as the Red Sox and Yankees, but it's heated. It's a very heated rivalry. One of the worst things, you talk about transient in Austin. I cannot stand it when fair weather baseball fans in Austin say we don't really care which team wins, the Rangers or the Astros, because if you talk to a Houston person or a Dallas person, we want them to lose, and we don't care. If we can't win, they can't win either. That's our mindset over here. So it's just always funny to listen to people that just cheer for Texas sports, and I'm like, not me, buddy. I cheer against them all the time. Love to Patrick and Stefan, who we're probably going to have on the show at some point to join us, because they're huge Astros fans. But and on the Adolis Garcia front, it was time. He just was not working out over here anymore, and it's just sometimes you just got to move on. But I still give the biggest blessings and thank you to one of my favorite sports memories of all time, and without him, it wouldn't have been possible. So thank you to Adolis Garcia, and good luck on your endeavors. I will always root for you, and you'll always be a hero in my eyes. The only thing I did for the Texas Rangers is I broke down a Dallas Morning News article written by Tim Kalishaw, who you should know back in Around the Horn, kept on dueling it out with Bob Ryan. Probably your hero on that show, right?
Oh, those were the glory days of, to me, modern sports talk TV, because it could still have really good opinions and go back and forth in quick snippets, which was great. They'd also, I think Kalishaw did occasionally appear on Sports Reporters as well. Maybe not. I know Bob Ryan was a fixture on it, along with Lupica and some others. But yeah, when instead of just talking heads like us that just have opinions, there was actual writers out there. it was pretty awesome. Kalashaw is one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah, and he is a great sports writer, very level-headed too. I've always liked his stuff too. So I was like, "Ooh, Tim Kalashow article. I shall check it out." Um, so in that Dallas Morning News article, he was just talking about the biggest downfall was one hitting. I don't know if that's going to be fixed anytime soon with the Rangers, but we're going to do our best to change it. We just got a new manager, Shoemaker. Maybe he can end up changing it for us. He's kind of an interesting pickup. I feel like the culture was kind of losing the room for a second. Semien, if you know anything about the fights between Corey Seager and Semien, more reports were coming out that those two did not get along, and there ended up being cliques in the locker room as a result. We don't know if it's Corey Seager gone or if it's Semien. We chose Corey Seager, who's just a phenomenal baseball player, and we decided Corey Seager's just better, and we're going to go ahead and trade Semien. So we traded him. He's gone now, and we're going to see if maybe the locker room chemistry is going to be a lot better, which is really important in baseball. So you can have the not a talented team go really far when that chemistry is just killing it. They're just all enjoying themselves, having fun. Shout out to the 2010, 2011 World Series runner-up Rangers.
Yeah, and I'm excited about your manager addition. He's relatively young as far as managers go. He's only 46, and he took the Marlins to the playoffs and won Manager of the Year just two years ago. So you've got someone that could be around for a while and knows how to win with relative crap on his roster. And your roster, the Rangers roster, is not filled with crap.
Yeah, and it's not. It's got some decent players in there. One of the things that they talked about was Josh Smith, who has a late run at the end of the year. Or he'd always start the year hot. Last year, he started the year hot and then ended up playing pretty bad towards the end of the year. And Shoemaker says, I don't really know the psychology of the guy, but yet I'm learning all my players right now. But he goes, if I had to guess on anything, it's usually because they had a couple bad performances and they tried to chase a number to, help their own contract. And he goes, if you think like that, it's harder to perform when you're looking at your own individual stats. You got to just look at what you're doing for the team overall, and the stats come with it. So he's really trying to build a lot of good unity over here. The biggest problem that we had outside of batting, though, was we never had a closer, and our bullpen was not a great bullpen. We only had one player in 2024 get over no player got over 10 saves for the entire year last year. 10 saves, couldn't get it done. And so our solution to that is we're basically going to do a bullpen by committee. We lost two of our best bullpen pitchers, Hobby Milner and Sean Armstrong. And Shoemaker even mentioned that. He said they were the guys who did a really good job in high leverage spots, but they're no longer with us. So he's going to have to find some big shoes to fill. And the bullpen that we're going to currently have going into this year is going to be Gavin Collier, who's a Frisco call-up from the Frisco Rough Riders. Jacob Junis, he's been a travel setup man, been on a lot of teams. Cole Winn, who's trying to reinvent himself as a bullpen player. And then, of course, Josh Sborz, who ended up being the famous pitcher that won it for who closed it out for the 2023 World Series. Wasn't able to play last year and because of an injury, and is going to be back. So we're pretty excited about that. Chris Young talked about it, and he said, we did a study on teams that regularly have the best bullpens, and that's what we discovered, that they keep bringing in guys or making trades or claims to get better as the season goes along. So what Chris Young is essentially saying is that your bullpen is supposed to be a rotation no matter what, and essentially he's going into the year knowing, and he said it in the article, Rob, that we don't really have a good bullpen, and we're going to work with what we got right now, but really it's going to be in the season that we're going to make some big deals and try to make some differences over there. So I think the Rangers are a lot in the same boat as the Boston Red Sox, in a worse boat because we didn't make the playoffs last year or make any sort of run. And we're just counting on Shoemaker to get the bats alive because our starting pitching is fine. We should be able to do really well with our starting pitching. Teams would have been begging for the starting pitching that the Texas Rangers had last year, and the bats weren't alive at all, and we could not score, and as a result, we didn't make the playoffs. So I think that's going to be the game plan going in this year. Is they're just going to try to wait and see if they're a buy or sell team. Count on Shoemaker to get the chemistry right, and then we'll see how this team goes. But so far, everything's looking really good. They're performing really well in spring training, so he's really excited about the bullpen right now. But if I had to say my biggest fear right now, it's going to be about that bullpen heading into the season. See if we can close it out.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting. We do have one commenter in the commenting on YouTube, Nick. I don't know if you've been taking a look at some of his comments. Infinite Nuance Studios doesn't seem too excited about Shoemaker. So I don't know. He seems to have the opposite thoughts about you when it comes to Shoemaker there.
Well, I know this guy. This is Tyler, our ex-producer, and he's just making jokes. Yeah.
What's up, Tyler?
And if you could see earlier in the chat, I did spot it, and I was testing him because he said I made a good point, and I don't remember making a good point, so I tested him. I asked him
nice.
in the comments. So, but he answered it. Answered it real well. Nice work, Tyler. Appreciate it. And feel free, guys, to comment as much as you want, Tyler. Love hearing your. I'm with him. Shoemaker, not the best option when you're talking about a manager. You probably want a guy with the last name Shoemaker to be making shoes, is what he's upset about. He doesn't think that he's going to work out because of the name, and that's a good concern. I think it's legit.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm excited for him. I think it's going the right direction. Y'all have been going with the older managers the last little bit. Obviously, with Bruce Bochy, it worked out better than anyone could have dreamed. I think we all just thought he was making one last retirement stop, before retirement, and decided Texas was a good place to do it. But it worked out even better for y'all with that title, and which just locks in Bruce Bochy. He was already going to be a Hall of Fame manager, but now 4 World Series titles with 2 different teams. Not to mention all the great work he did in San Diego before he went to San Francisco. Pretty amazing. And then last year, if I'm correct, you guys tried to have Ron Washington back, right? Or was he just a coach on the staff?
I think he was just a coach on the staff, or we were interviewing for Ron Washington, and Dallas sports loves Ron Washington. If you guys are old enough to remember the 2010-2011 World Series, we just love his stuff. Maybe he shouldn't have had Nelly Cruz out there in the outfield. We all know that might have been a bad idea, but he just stuck to his guys because he loved his guys, and the team got there with that kind of philosophy. So, Ron Washington, wherever he may be, I think he's still with the wasn't he the manager of the Angels for a little bit, wasn't he?
That's what I was thinking. But yeah, he's done with that. He's done there now too because of his health.
Bummer. But hey, at least he's not playing against us, because that was kind of hard to cheer against Ron Washington. I'm telling you, it's tough. But
yeah.
But we'll see how the season goes. This team did have a lot of talent in the World Series, and a lot of that talent is still there. So this team can come alive, and maybe just needs a little bit of just change up in culture. Bochy is a very relaxed guy. That's why he does so well in the playoffs, is because he's just cool as a cucumber. Nothing freaks him out, and he keeps his team calm, level-headed. But in the regular season grind, maybe you just need to, light the fire and get the players motivated. And maybe Bochy just wasn't doing a good job towards the end. But no shame on Bochy either. Love you, Bochy. But we did need a new change, and I have no problem with the Shoemaker hire.
Awesome. So, yep, we're excited. I think there's a chance that both of our teams are squaring off in the playoffs, which would be quite awesome. We're certainly going to have some live streams throughout the season when the Rangers are playing the Red Sox, because why wouldn't we? So it's going to be a lot of fun. This is not the last you're going to hear from us about baseball moving forward. We're going to regularly be talking about it. We'll have the WBC update next week, and then we'll be counting down to opening day, and we'll have the updates throughout the season. But Nick,
Yeah,
there's another sport that has captured America's attention that
This is
also
Rob
has
speak.
captured some smart Texans' attention because they have a very, very good team. And that sport is hockey. And your Dallas Stars have been looking like they have a chance to get past Edmonton finally and take a shot at a cup.
Possibly, man. I did watch those playoffs, though, and Edmonton looked bigger, faster, and stronger than us. I don't know if coaching can change that. We'll see if that makes a difference over there, but I'm nervous about the playoff run. It's a good position to be in, though, because they are doing really well in the regular season. Right now, they're 37, 14, and 9 with 84 points. 5 points right now behind the Avalanche in the Central Division. And the Stars are looking poised at, they're definitely going to make the playoffs. The question is, can we win the division and get that home field advantage all across the home rink advantage all across the playoffs?
Which that's going to be a tall task because of how well the Avalanche started the season. But I mean, the Stars are currently on not a 9-game point streak, a 9-game win streak.
Yeah. Now their big issue right now, though, is as the season's closing out right now, their strength of schedule is ranked like 9th toughest in the league right now, and the Colorado Avalanche still has a relatively weak schedule compared to the Texas or the Dallas Stars. So it's going to be tough, but 5 points is nothing in hockey, and we can get them, and so we'll see if we can catch them. I think that would be a big advantage, big boost for the Stars if they can clinch that and win the conference. The Stars did just beat the Vancouver Canucks 6-1, and the big thing that we're talking about, they should be playing here shortly. It's going to be against the Calgary Flames, and I was reading an article on Jason Robinson against the Calgary Flames specifically. He's got 20 points in the last 13 games. He's got 20 points, 9 assists in the last 13 games. 20 points, 11 goals, 9 assists in the last 13 games. So apparently he just dominates against them, and high expectation on him, Robinson, dominating tonight. On top of it, he's having a really just good regular season as well. He's leading the team in points, 70 points in 60 games. Could be on track to get to the 100 points if he keeps at this pace. It's getting close.
Yeah, he certainly could. For sure. He's probably the biggest snub for Team USA too, for the Olympics. But that being said, you then look at the Olympic roster and you go, well, who are you gonna trade out for him? So on the plus side, though, that means he's nice and well rested.
Yeah. Which we did lose Nico because of the Olympics for the time being, and if Nico can come back, then we're going to be in really good shape. Robinson's a really interesting player because he's not the fastest, not the strongest. He's just a sniper out there, and he could pinpoint any shot into the goal. So he's really good about that, and we'll see if he can continue on to the season. The other story that was coming out is the trading deadline is looming in the NHL, and Nazem Kadri, the Calgary center, who we're actually going up against tonight, is possibly on the trading block, and a lot of rumors are out there that the Stars could go get him. He's going to be a $7 million hit against our cap, and our cap is already in a bind. But, if I know anything about Jim Nill, if he can smell a cup, he will go for it. And he's really good at retooling the team, even when it blows up, gets older, and he has to rebuild it. He could do it real quickly anyway. So I think they're going to be targeting him. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get him, but Kadri, talk
If
about
you can
if you
get
can
him.
have that would be really big. He's so far scored 41 points, 12 goals, and 29 assists as a center. And if you compare him with Heiskanen as our starting center, it's a serious matchup because with Nico Robinson and Heiskanen, and now we got Kadri. If we could pull it off, I think it's going to be a really good fit for this team. Obviously, he'd be a good fit for any team, and that might be the missing piece that can get us on the cup run. And I think Jim Nill's thinking that. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but one thing about Jim Nill is he pulls off some crazy trades at the trade deadline all the time. That's how we got Nico last year. Let's see if he can pull it off again this year.
Yeah, for sure. And then you did all that and didn't talk about probably, who is the one of the top three American goalies, because he was on Team USA, but possibly a top two or three performing goalie in the NHL right now overall in Jake Ottinger, who's just been on it. And ultimately, when it gets to the playoffs, the hot goaltender is what matters. And so if he can keep up what he's been doing all season long and he can make it happen in the playoffs, that's going to be huge. Because you know what Edmonton still does not have? They still do not have a goalie. They got rid of Stuart Skinner. They brought in another guy. That guy is failing miserably too. And, Edmonton's going to make some moves because they only have McDavid for 2 more years after this. And his window's not going to stay open forever. So he wants to stay in Edmonton. He wants to win in Edmonton. But if he's not going to win, if they're not going to put all the pieces that are needed around him, he can go and he can pick his spot. He is this era's Wayne Gretzky at this point, and he could be that piece that gets moved for a record-setting amount sometime in the next 2 years if Edmonton can't keep it up. So right now, like when I'm looking at the West, I'm looking at Colorado, which has stumbled since that hard start. I'm looking at Dallas, and I am looking at Edmonton. One of those three will win the West and most likely win the Cup.
Yeah, the West is pretty strong. I'll tell you one thing about McDavid. If he was to leave Edmonton for whatever reason in the next 2 years, do you see him going to an American team, or does he have this liability to get a cup in Canada somehow, some way? Do you think he would just travel to a different Canadian team, or do you think he just wants to win it so bad?
It's been a very long time since a Canadian team has hoisted a cup. My Bruins helped keep that streak going back in 2011. But the Edmonton Oilers are going to be far more likely to make a trade with an American team over another Canadian team. They just are. So if he leaves, he's going to end up in the United States.
Huh, man, that'd be so interesting. Yeah, because I love McDavid a lot, man. That guy is competitive. And you mentioned Otter earlier. What I like about Otter is that competitiveness that McDavid has. Otter's got that same weird psycho energy that he just doesn't like losing, and just love those kind of players out there. But yeah, Star's got a big season ahead. Rob, how about your Bruins? I know they're in a little bit of a scuff to get to the playoffs. Do you think they're going to pull it off?
We'll see. If the playoffs started today, they would be in. They would have that last wild card, which would be awesome. We did not have these expectations for this team this year. We have yet another new coach, but I think we've got the right coach now in Marco Sturm, former Bruins player, very recently was an NHL player, a player's coach, but like a smart thinking players coach, someone who honestly I would say could compare to like a Mike Vrabel, for example, to kind of compare to football. Doesn't have as many skins on the wall when it comes to coaching as Vrabel does, but he's showing that he knows how to get the most out of his roster. And this Bruins team they've got an interesting mix. They're relatively young. They don't have a ton of older players. And they get a lot of players really trying to prove themselves because the Bruins front office famously it struggles when it comes to going out and finding and bringing in the top tiered free agents and spending more money than they have to. So typically the Bruins got to like build from within, even though we are not a small market. They still got to typically build from within or hit on trades. Famously, a couple of years back, we went all in at the trade deadline. We set the record, best regular season ever, and then got bounced by the Panthers in the opening round. And then we've, of course, since seen the Panthers go on and win a couple cups with our boy Marshy last year. That one hurt. On the plus side, Panthers don't look like they're making the playoffs, short of a miracle run this year. But we've had some impressive play, of course, from David Pastrnak. We would expect that. He's already got 72 points on the year, 22 goals. More importantly to me, 50 assists on top of that. So that shows he's playing team hockey, which is what you need. And then something no one would have picked going into the season, Morgan Geekie he's having a absolute fantastic breakout year. He actually leads the team in goals. He has 33 goals. He's got 22 assists, 55 goals. Pastrnak has said from what he's seen, this kid's got and he's, I believe, 26, 27. He's got the tools to be a 50-goal scorer. Might not happen this season, right? He'd have to really go on an epic goal a game tear to make that happen. But he's got those tools, and he's a big reason why that we are where we're at. And of course, then we've got Charlie McAvoy leading the way on defense. 36 assists to go with 5 goals, and he's got a plus minus of +4, which is really impressive. We only got Fraser Minton plus 16 is even better. So like with that, like our depth lines are really, really good. It would be great to see someone like Elias Lindholm step it up a little bit more. Pavel Zacha, let's get a little bit more out of you as well. But this certainly is a team that can get into the playoffs and then go ahead and maybe steal a series. They are not good enough to win the cup right now. They just aren't. Jeremy Swayman is playing well. He seems to have adapted pretty well to being the regular everyday guy. The first bit of his career, he was in a true tandem every other game. But now he's been the man the last 2 years. And he's proving we got ourselves a good goalie. Now we just got to maximize it while he still has the talent. So it's a good building block year. With that trading deadline coming up this week, there's been some rumors. Will the Bruins make a deal? Well, the Bruins front office has come out and said that they're not going to pay an exorbitant price before the trade deadline. That's not surprising. Now, Morgan Geekie's come out and said, I want us to make additions. So has David Pastrnak. Of course they have. And they certainly don't want to be sellers, and they really shouldn't. They should because this is a team, it's young enough with Geekie, with Casey Middlestat, with a lot of these guys. Getting some playoff reps is going to be huge. And then if they can set themselves up to go ahead and bring some key additions in the offseason, they can go right from a team that last year and this year was supposed to be in a full rebuild, just do a quick retool and then be right at the top. Of course, my biggest desire, quite honestly, would be to see a change in the front office. Don Sweeney, you're a Bruins legend. You're not a Bruins legend in the front office. You're a Bruins legend on the ice. I do think it's time to go. I think they need some fresh blood in the front office, and it's not the same old, same old. But, hey, I didn't think I'd still be having exciting Bruins hockey to watch in March, and we've got it. And now I hope they can make the playoffs and go on a run.
And especially in hockey, it seems like doesn't matter if you're the 8th seed or the 1st seed, as long as you get into the race, you can make a run and have a good time and possibly even win the cup. So, that's going to be the goal. Just get into the playoffs and let's just enjoy ourselves, right?
Yep. Stay healthy, have the hot goalie, get some breaks your way, and you can make a run. Like I said, the Bruins should not be making a run out of the East. The Carolina Hurricanes are really they're leading the way. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, another one of those teams that was good for a while. Look like they went down. They're right back up. They've got potential. The Detroit Red Wings are having a good year. I think they're a little too young. I think they're a year away. I think the Penguins are a little too old. So it's really, this is Carolina's year. If they're going to go ahead and win the East, this is their year to do it. Toronto's completely fallen on their faces. They're not going to make it. Ottawa's not there. Philly's not there. All of the talent, all of the true rock star teams right this year are out west. So if the Hurricanes aren't the Eastern Conference champions, that's shocking. And then, the Hurricanes, if they fall in the first round, because remember, NHL is not true 1-8. You got to get through your division before you then get and move on. So you got to be able to beat anyone. So if the Hurricanes go down in the first round, any team out of the East that makes round 2 could win the East. And then potentially be a sacrificial lamb to a Colorado, Edmonton, or Dallas.
Yeah, the mighty have fallen now that the Florida Panthers seem to be out of it, right?
Yeah, the Panthers are having a down year. They've had some injuries, but they've also won back-to-back cups. So I think their fans are okay with it. And, those wonderful Toronto Maple Leafs constantly breaking their fans' hearts. It finally looked like they were taking the steps in the right direction, and then they've totally backslid again. It wouldn't shock me to see Austin Matthews on his way out after this year.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me at all, but that's hockey for you. They move around quickly, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do.
So yeah, that's what's going on with the hockey front. Anything on the Boston Celtics? You got any? I don't have anything for the Mavericks.
They're doing awesome. Everyone wrote them off, and I said, "Hey, what do y'all?" Yes, they don't have Tatum for most of this year, but they still have Jaylen Brown. They still have unbelievable depth. They still have the craziest, most intense coach in all of the NBA. This team's going to be a team that's going to play hard. And they're sitting there second in the East right now. They're playing real hard. Jaylen Brown, if it wasn't just the award should always go to Jokic or LeBron or Antetokounmpo, or Jaylen Brown should be the front runner for MVP with what he's doing, with what he's done with this team. He should be the MVP front runner. We'll see if they can get out of the East. Detroit, I mean, out of the big four, NBA is my fourth sport. The other three are pretty far ahead of it. But Detroit kind of came out of nowhere. They've been rebuilding for what seems like forever. And this year, absolutely everything is clicking for them in a way it was for Cleveland last year. So we'll see if they can make that translate into the playoffs. But Cleveland made a big move. They brought in James Harden. So I'd say there's a real chance that you see that Boston, especially if Tatum comes back and is healthy, he's already practicing, he's ramping up, he's getting ready. But he said he doesn't want to disrupt the team chemistry either. So they're going to fit him in where it makes the most sense, which is what a team player, right?
Yeah.
So there's a chance the Celtics could win the East again and be matched up against probably Oklahoma City, maybe San Antonio. So there's a lot of optimism in Boston right now around most of our sports. You can't keep us down for long, y'all. You really can't. No, they've always been doing well. You have so many championships in the last 20 years, so it's really Not
nice.
enough.
Yeah. And when my team has a future of 10 years of being a possibly with a championship player and built to beat OKC, we just decided to blow it up all of a sudden out of nowhere. And
hey, Nick, defense wins championships.
Right. I cannot describe like how much it shot my sports. Okay, like it's hurt. So you mentioned the NBA is your fourth favorite. That's my second favorite. They used to be my go-to. I love NBA action, and for the we're still recovering. I know we have Cooper Flag and everyone, whatever. It's just we were there. We were in the finals. We're built to beat OKC, and I can't get over the Luka Doncic trade, and I never will. I don't think I ever will. It'll always sting me that we had that guy and we lost him. So we're tanking. And we're going to try to go get Boozer or someone in the draft, and we'll see how that works out. It looks like it's going to be a hot draft. I'd rather be talking about playoffs, but that's the world I'm living in, Rob. My last point that I guess wanted to make was the it's a funny story too, because the NFLPA got sued for releasing the news stories on the NFL player card, the report card that the players would grade their teams and their ownership and their coaching and whatever, and then they would release it out to the public. And the NFLPA was the head website that did it. Now, in that court case, the NFL came down, the owners came down, and they basically said, do not release this. We do not want this released anymore. We have to do the report card because it's part of the collective bargaining agreement, but we cannot get it released. Now, if you guys know anything about labor discussions, that's like the number one thing that ownership would want you to do is they don't want you to talk to each other about your salaries or anything like that, because if you start doing it, then all of a sudden the salaries, happily illegal over here. So they definitely gave the rights over to the players to end up doing that. And they were like, yeah, you could talk about it amongst yourselves. You just can't release it to the public. So NFL,
of course it was getting leaked, and it should be leaked.
NFL, what did you think was going to happen? The players all of a sudden get the report cards. They're able to look at it, and you're telling me that there's no way this is going to get leaked? I mean, the NFLPA, they don't even have to be behind this conspiracy to release it, because one player just goes, I know what's better in the collective bargaining agreement. I'm going to release it, give it to ESPN. So they got a hold of it.
So before you get into the funny things, I got two quick things on this. One, if I'm the NFLPA, I look at the owners and say, okay, you really don't want these report cards getting released? Guaranteed contracts, please. This league has enough money. Guaranteed contracts, let's go. And start the battle there. NFL players should have guaranteed contracts. My goodness. Two, what are the owners whining about? The players get rated and reported on by so many different things out between Madden video games, between NFL prospectus, between all of the betting, everything. All of that is out there all the time. All the fantasy rankings. They're the billionaires. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You don't like your grade? Spend money and get better. You got it.
It's that easy, and I just find it so funny that they just counted on the players to not leak it out. Well, they leaked it out, Rob. I mean, what would you think was going to happen? Which is weird, because there might be a lawsuit regarding this. This might not be over, because it was in a court case that basically told the NFLPA, you cannot release this. So they lost in court, but it gets released somehow. How does it get released? By the NFL players.
Thousands of players are seeing the report.
It's impossible to stop. So I went ahead and pulled it. ESPN got a hold of it, and I found your New England Patriots. I'm just going to go through them, Rob, and you let me know where you want me to stop or anything like that. Just stop me whenever you get a chance, or if you find something interesting. So let's start off with the New England Patriots. The treatment of families, they got a B. Home game field, they got a D on their field, I guess because of the grass.
So here's the thing. They're playing on grass. Also, they're playing outdoors in New England. Some players are going to embrace it. Not all players are going to embrace it. So there's some of these players, knowing that they're doing an anonymous survey, that hate playing in the cold, but they got drafted there or they signed their contract. But they're going to still throw a failing grade at it. Deal with it. It's the weather. It's life.
It's part of it. Food and dining area, they got a D+. They're not doing too hot on the food out there, but nutrition, they got a B. So they're feeding them the right stuff. They just don't like the taste, I guess.
That's weird. You'd think they would go 1-1 with that. I guess provide more options is what I think. What we're hearing is they need to provide more options.
Yeah, I guess so. Locker room, C minus. A little shocked by that, but they're talking about the physical locker room. They're not talking about like,
Right.
chemistry or anything like that. So I
Yeah,
guess
that's
I didn't
fine.
like the locker room. Older stadium. I mean, old
That's crazy. It
in
is technically
NFL years.
it's an older stadium now, but it opened in 2002.
Well, what was it? The ballpark in Arlington was built in '94, and we blew that one up, Rob. So, gosh, get a new stadium already. Come on.
No, too
uh,
expensive.
we got the training room, C minus, training staff B, weight room C minus, strength coaches A minus. So they like the coaches, they just don't like the equipment. Position coaches B minus, and anything on that, Rob? Just
No, it's
generic.
fine.
Yeah. Offensive coordinator, they got an A, so they love Josh McDaniel. Defensive coordinator, they got a B, which is kind of a weird situation with them. I don't even know if they're grading their own defensive coordinator, right?
Well, because it's all over the place. But Kerr did get promoted. He is the defensive coordinator going forwards, and Williams has got a new role with the team.
So, and they like him fairly. He passed. Special teams coordinator B plus. This is a weird one. You guys need a new plane, bro. You need a new
Oh,
plane
yeah,
because you
yeah,
got
yeah.
an F on team travel.
Yeah, so Robert Kraft a few years back kind of was pioneering the way, probably more than a few years now. And because the Patriots are one of only a few teams that actually own their own team plane. But here's the thing, if you're a player, you actually don't want your team to own the plane. You you want them to be chartering private and getting the best of the best. So yeah, there's no Wi-Fi on the plane.
Step it up.
There's
Come on.
Okay, I'm not a millionaire. I am not a professional athlete. But when I hop on a plane, and I don't even use the Wi-Fi that much, I'll often read a book or whatever. But if I don't have it and I could have it, I'm kind of cranky. What
Yeah,
if I need
I don't
to
blame him.
send a text to somebody about something? Or what if
Or set up.
the seat back thing isn't working and I want to watch a movie, I need the Wi-Fi to watch the movie. Like, come on.
Yeah, and you don't
There
want
should be
your
Wi-Fi
players.
on planes.
Yeah, and you don't want your players tweeting in the locker room, but they can tweet on the plane. That's a great time to do it,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Whatever.
downtime. Plus, if you have Wi-Fi, you can make sure that there's game film that they can watch. There's preps, like there's put Wi-Fi on the plane, Robert Kraft.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. Head coach A. So your guy Vrabel, they love. I mean, Rob's gonna be upset that that's not an A plus. Uh.
He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. General manager B plus. Team ownership B minus. Overall rank 26. 26. So
That plane ranking really drags him down, huh? The plane in the stadium.
It does, but they graded most of the grades were passing in these.
Yeah,
They graded favorably for whatever they went. Turns out they're still millionaires, Rob. So I
yeah,
think they're living a happy life, you know.
yeah.
I'll run through the Cowboys real quickly. Treatment of families B. Shoddy's all about family. That doesn't shock me. Home field is a C. So what that means, guys, is if you have artificial turf, you get a C. Automatic C.
They probably could have gotten a B or an A if they just put up the blinds.
Maybe, yeah, the sun, yeah, I bet that did play a factor. Jerry being all wealthy and stuff, food and dining area only got a B. Okay, a little better than the Patriots, but nutritionist, dietitian B plus, locker room B plus, B plus, man, that used to be the best one out there. And then you got the star, and you're thinking this new facility should be great. They got a D in the training room. So I don't know if it's because people go out to they don't like the fact that fans are watching them train, maybe. I think that's what it is, because that's the biggest complaint that I've heard from anyone that leaves the Cowboys is that they don't like fans. Like, you could just tour the star and you could just watch them start training. And I don't think, maybe they don't like that. I don't know. Haven't decided. Training staff, they got a C. Weight room, they got an A-. So they got the right equipment. Strengths coach A-. Positions coach B. Little shocked with that, with the Eberflus. No. I guess with the probably defense against offense. Offensive coordinator, they got an A. They love Shoddy. They love Clay Adams. Defensive coordinator, you'd think would be an F, especially the way they responded to them. C. They passed. I don't know how they did that. Special teams coordinator B+, travel, team travel C. So we use a charter plane. I guess it doesn't do it though. I guess they want better. Head coach A-, good for Sear Shoddy. General manager B.
What letter?
He takes care of them, man. He takes care of his players. If you're a player, you like them. If you're a fan, it drives you freaking nuts.
Granted, if your players are voting on it, the general manager and the coach really shouldn't, if they're still employed, they're getting less than a B on this. There's a problem somewhere.
Yeah. Team ownership B and overall ranking 22. So we're not faring the best out of it, but I found it fun. I figured that would be a good little thing to break in because we got it. And I'm sure we're going to see it next year, but it's weird. You'll have some teams that, like the Chiefs, always score low, but, they play well. They win Super Bowls. It doesn't seem to correlate to winning too much. You can have the best facilities,
right,
and you lose all the time. Apparently, best place to play, Miami Dolphins, Rob, which is kind of weird.
It's Miami.
And they like their coach. They like Mike McDaniel, and they still ousted him.
He's gone.
Yeah. And the last story that we have here is over the UFL. Anything on the player grades, player report cards, Rob?
That makes sense. Okay. And NFL owners deal with it. You're billionaires. Be held a little bit accountable for something.
Plus, it's fun for the fans to judge you. Okay, we like to judge. Let us judge. Okay, give us information. It's entertaining. And I was upset. I didn't think they were going to get these. I always like these at the end of the year. So when they released it, I was really happy.
I knew they were getting leaked.
Yeah. Oh, you could count on it when the one player is going to let it out. One player for sure. The other big news for the UFL, not much has happened. It's been pretty quiet on the UFL front. We already talked about the rules changing. So that's been the hot topic, is the 4-point field goal from 60 plus. Apparently, if you're not
most
a
people
UFL
not
fan,
liking it.
Well, I think regular NFL people that don't watch the UFL, from what I'm hearing, they just like the bits. They think it's funny. This is where me and you step in and go, well, but you don't need bits. It's good football. So I think the UFL community doesn't like it. I think everyone else on the outside thinks it's kind of fun. And I think they want to, hey, maybe it'll draw eyeballs. Maybe it'll work for Mike Rapoli.
Maybe.
But, speaking of Mike Rapoli, he's doing a really good job. He's doing a really good job at getting sponsorships. He's got New Era, Adidas, and No Bowl. I am very familiar with Adidas, not too familiar with No Bowl or New Era, but they're going to be the
New Era makes a lot of like hats, and New Era did MLB jerseys for a long time. Noble is an athletics company based in Boston that makes sportswear.
Okay.
So
Boston, look at that. You're helping out the
Boston,
UFL,
Boston with a Boston with a B, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to be pretty big, and Rapoli brought it up. He said, we're proud to welcome New Era, Adidas, and Noble as partners of the UFL. These are brands built on sport, competition, performance, values shared by every UFL coach and player on the field. We couldn't be more excited to kick off the season with them represented at every game. I don't think do you have a New Era?
I have several. This one's not a New Era hat, but they make very good hats.
The key is Mike Rapoli at the very least is promoting it, trying to get those sponsors out there. I know this is going to be for their uniforms and things like that, but I think it's a big get for Mike Repoli. I think that's a good sign for things to come because that's going to be the key to the UFL. They've got to get sponsorships to get into this thing to fund it. And overall, I'm just really happy that he's doing his business cards, getting those connections that he has, and trying to get people out there to help sponsor this league. Hopefully, he keeps on doing it because the key for this league's survival is going to be those sponsorships and TV deals and things like that. So, happy he's doing it. Hopefully, we can make the advertisers happy. That's the other aspect of it. We need to get viewership to make them happy on these contracts. But for now, doing a good job trying to promote the product, and it's going to be good for the league.
Oh, for sure. I think this is a step in the right direction for sure. And yeah, and hopefully that means we're also going to get with these deals, we're going to get some quality gear for fans to buy, for fans to rock. It hopefully will look and feel and last better than all that crappy Fanatic stuff that a lot of the other leagues keep locking in, which is just cheap throwaway crap that is way too overpriced.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be a good product too. And I am going to get myself some Renegade gear here shortly too, so I cannot wait till they release some of that stuff out there. I kind of wish you could just get it at a store though. I don't know. I'm just not an online shopper, but I think I have no choice.
Yeah, like especially when I get like clothes or like hats, especially. I really like to get the hats. Like I want to look at them in person. I want to like, yeah, I'm more of an in-person guy myself.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got for you today. And Rob, anything else to add, or are we closing up shop and promoting our product?
Yeah, we're closing up shop. Make sure like watch this. Get ready for MLB season. Watch the World Baseball Classic. It's going to be a lot of good baseball being played at a very high level, nice and early in the season. It'll be a good launching pad into it. And then, of course, our Stars and Bruins, they're looking good, and hopefully it keeps rolling. As far as where y'all can find us, where can you find us? Well, if you're hearing my voice right now, if you see our beautiful faces, you found us on YouTube. Good job. If you haven't hit that like button and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. And then share with a friend if you liked what you were hearing. We'd love it if you would share with a friend or two. You can also, if you just search across pretty much all platforms, Nick and Rob Homer Hour, you will find us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on YouTube, on X. So go ahead, find us, like, share, subscribe. We'll come at you once a week with a lot of good stuff, and we'll be right back here next week.
Yes, sir. Yep, we sure will. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.